Hi everyone, welcome to NextFest and our demo of the game Fence. My name's Anthony, I'm the lead designer of this game, and we've been working on it for a couple of years now, myself and a small team. It's not a big team and we are part-time, but we've obviously worked very hard on the game over the last couple of years and proud of what we've made. So today what you can expect is a bit of a playthrough of the game, same demo that you'll be able to play by downloading it from Steam. A bit later on we will have on various developers, so some of our artists and programmer, and they'll talk a little bit about the game and what they've done in the game and favourite parts and those sorts of good things. So in this part what you'll get to see is me playing the game a little bit and going through the Bronx in the 90s with Jimmy and a little bit about the story. So in the long term we plan on having both a sandbox mode and the standard mission mode, because Fence can be played as kind of a very open-ended trading game, so we give those options. And this is just the intro. So Jimmy is a recently expelled high schooler and he's trying to make ends meet. His mum's an alcoholic and drinking her life away. Jimmy's just gotten off the phone with his Uncle Frank, who's a bit of a sleazy businessman who always looked out for Jimmy and his mum. So Jimmy being fresh out of options, Uncle Frank said, maybe there's some less legit ways of making money by buying and selling stolen goods. So this is the main game interface. As you can see, we've got Jimmy, who we can control with our AWSD, sort of very standard thing. And then we've got a range of things in the HUD here. So Fence operates on a calendar and a normal time clock. We've got Jimmy's notoriety, which we'll talk about a bit later. And then we can see when we popped up here that we've got our first mission. Our missions can be accessed through the notepad here. So our first mission's baby steps. So Uncle Frank sort of said, how about you head down to the basketball court and see if anyone's got any hot goods to offload. So we can see down here our tasks, and our first one's to go down to the basketball court. When we get there, see if we can find Leo. So let's go do that. Jimmy's not drunk, it's just me controlling him about as well as I can. Okay, Leo. Let's have a look. Tyler. And let's talk to Leo. So you can read the different characters' text. So found Leo. Sure, Leo, spit it out so I can see. Alright, so now our first job was to get this hot thorny walk dude. So if we click on this here, so we can have it see here some information about the thorny walk dude and what it's got. So each item has like a category and then the year that it was actually made available. What the recommended retail price is, the condition. So it goes through from excellent down to poor. So this one's actually not very good. How hot it is. So in Fence, heat is an issue, and if we get too much heat, we attract the cops. So each good has its own hotness, depending on sort of how high value it is and what it is. And then Jimmy, based on his notoriety, as he gets more experience, he can work out what the estimated price is. We've got a couple of options here. We can either buy it now for what Leo has asked for, or we can barter for it, so we can play like a little barter mini game, or we can be not interested and go back to the previous menu. So obviously the buy now is not the best price, but if we barter, see if we can get it for better. Now, Leo's only got so much patience, so we can't sort of horse around here. So maybe we can get this one cut. 10.55, not too bad. Now we could buy some of this other stuff, but we'll just stick to the mission for the moment. Yeah, sure it is, Leo. Get your next rock. Ever consider food, Leo? Alright. So we could go talk to Tyler. Oh, sorry. When we get to our, when we bought something, we actually get a notification up here of kind of how much we bought it for and sort of what recommended retail price percentage we got it for. So it gives a bit of information. We intend on having a game log you can have a bit later so we can see exactly what the cost is. Now, we could go and sell it, but that wouldn't be the best idea because that leaves us a lot of heat on us. And also we might be able to upgrade the good a bit to get some more cash. So if we go back into Mum's house where we live, you'll see down the bottom here we've got a workbench which we can use to clean up some goods. We can talk to Mum if we want to, but I'm not sure she's so well. Anyway, to go downstairs, we get to the top of the stairs and we just interact. Move downstairs. Now there's a lot of junk down here that you can clear up and start doing some kind of cool things down here in the full game, but not so much for the demo. But we'll go to our very empty looking workbench and see if we can clean this up. So when we go into the workbench, at the moment we don't have any bonuses because it's the vanilla workbench, but we can have a look at the current hotness of the good and current condition waterfall, which is what we can see. And we'll go ahead and we'll clean up this Sawney Wall dude. Now, depending on how much heat we're removing is how long this takes, so this is going to take a little while. Okay, we'll speed up while we clean up those goods. And now let's go see if we can sell it. Get the street scan and see what we can do. Just minimize that so we can see a little bit better. Here's some of this beautiful art that we've got in the game, with that real Bronxy look. And here we are at Shifty Adams Bar, so we'll see if we can pop something in there. Now, of course, if you're getting stuck, you can have a look at the mission here. So we went and scoped out the basketball talk, talked to Leo. Clean up the junk Leo sold you, which we did. And now seek someone out at Shifty's to sell the walk dude to. Okay, so and you'll see up here we get a reward of 0.3 notoriety, 120 XP and $20. So let's see if we can get that. So who have we got? We got Shifty at the bar. Jimmy, how you going? Some people walking. Alright, let's talk to Brandon. So Brandon's our local barfly. Looks like he's probably had a few. Maybe something with buttons and wires is beyond your capacity. Alright, so we got the Sawney Walk dude. So let's see if we can sell that. Okay, if you want to find a little bit about each character has their own traits. So whilst you can kind of sell to anyone, obviously being able to sell things that are more valuable to them may get a better price. So if we have a look here, Brandon doesn't care much for electronics, likes apparel, likes art, likes music, doesn't care much for weapons, likes drugs, likes valuables. So you can see this is the electronics category, so maybe not going to be so good. If we look here, we estimate that we can sell it from 15 to 21, and we bought it for 10.25. So we could sell now for 15, but of course, let's see if we can get a better price. Let's really go a bit less. Okay, 16.10. Not such a good sale, but better than the $15, I guess. Yeah, of course you will.
It is done.
Alright, so we've completed that mission. You can see there's other people in the bar. We've got Floyd here. And now we've got a new mission. Mama needs whiskey, so what's that is. Okay, give Mum $30 for whiskey to feed her alcohol habit. Not many rewards there, but there is a penalty if we don't do it, so we've only got so long to do these tasks. Alright, so we won't actually go give Mum any money for her whiskey. And kind of show you what happens when that runs out. So it's probably a good time, just while it's coming on night, before we go and see if there's anything else to buy, just to show you some of the other things that'll be in the game.
Done.
There goes our $20, because Mum's kind of stolen it from us anyway. So we've got a few different things. So you've obviously got the mission to-do list, which is empty now that we've finished that one. In the full game, you'll have a scrapbook, so you can, as you buy and sell goods, you'll collect and be able to see what you've maxed out in terms of price, and there's some rewards for completing sets. Then we have our inventory, so whatever we're holding. So Jimmy at the moment only has 3 inventory spaces. However, you can upgrade your apparel in the full game and get some more spaces for different things. Also have a ledger, so you can go into the ledger and have a look at your buy and sell. And then we've got this helpful guide here, or this is really for anything you need to know about the game. So in the Fencepedia, you can see a few different things, but for example, you can see the current status that Jimmy has, so his heat and energy. And then essentially this contains all the different guide things that you need to understand in Fence. So at the moment we're on basics, which gives us a few different things. And if we go to example for controls, you get a nice blurb here on how the different controls work. So in the demo here, we've only got the keyboard controls working. And you also get a nice little video for some of these. And in the full game, you'll have all these different things explained out. And then as you go across the top, you can look at things in a bit more detail. So you can look at all the different help items on trading. You can have a look at all the different bits about items and categories and those sorts of things. Inventory, the different systems in the game, and then piece your own characters. So just to give an example of characters, as you meet different people or you come across different people in the hood, you'll see Jimmy scribbles down some nice notes here on the different people that you've met. So before we met Leo, so we've got a blurb here on Leo and what he's like. So this is kind of your come-to guide for essentially anything to do with like a tutorial, any information about the game. As you can see, it's probably a good time to talk about energy. So Jimmy does run out of energy at some point, and he needs to go home to sleep. So it's important to be able to do that. But before we go home and sleep a little bit more, we'll see if there's anyone down at the court to perhaps haggle with. So no. Oh yes, there is. Who have we got at the back here? Here we go, and we've got Caesar. Great to see you, because I've got something for you. Some tech, hey? Okay, so we've got an awesomeness that we could buy. Unfortunately, it's well and truly out of our price range, so can't really buy that at the moment. So we might go back and have a bit of a sleep. Let's see. Okay, what's Patrick got for us? Okay, so because we don't have a high notoriety, so notoriety is like all in one your experience and sort of how far Jimmy's along in the game in terms of becoming a bona fide fence. So at the moment, his notoriety is too low for these hotter items. So this Tomega Fastmaster Space Watch isn't available for sale, nor is the Swiss and Eastern 91, so can't get his hands on that. But this Hanover CD, Leech, this is something that he can get, so we'll see what we can get for this. So Jimmy reckons it's poor condition, hotness of 2 is not too hot, and we can buy from 6 to 7.91, so there's not a lot of value in bartering here, but we'll do it anyway. Let's see if we can grab it. Just a little bit of a discount. Luck of the Irish. absolutely, Patrick. So let's go and see if we can clean this up before we have a bit of a sleep. I do love all this this street art lighting at night time. Really makes the scene. So again, we just go down the bottom here and see if we can't improve this. So look, in the demo, you haven't really got any bonuses to clean things up because you can upgrade the workbench, but we let you clean it all the way up just so that you get the feel for how you do it. And I'll leave the workbench now. And I think it's probably time for Jimmy to have a bit of a snooze, otherwise he's going to get too tired. So once Jimmy gets too tired, he just can walk only. So obviously kind of causes a bit of an impulse, so good to get some sleep now and again. And of course, if you want to find out how tired you really are, then you have a look in the Fensopedia on the status page, and that tells you where it is. You can always wake Jimmy up, so we get a little nice notification to tell us kind of where we've gotten to at this time of once we wake up, so we can see what's happening. Probably worth pointing out here, the phone bench here, this is the place where you ultimately interact to upgrade things, so Jimmy kind of gets into a brochure there and able to do his upgrading from there, but we don't have that available for you in the demo, obviously, only full game. So I'm just going to swing down to the basketball court and see if anyone else has turned up this morning, just so we can see if there's anything else we can get before we head down and sell some things. So here we go down to Shifties, see what's about. Okay, so we've got Shifty here, but nobody else. Okay, so after playing some darts here for a while with Brandon seems to have made it back. Brandon wants to drink 24/7. Alright, so we're going to try and sell the Hanover CD Leech to Brandon. Now, not too bad. We bought it for $6.75, so this is a bit of a... Not really going to make much money on this. But, you know, we're starting small, so we've got to take what we can get. Alright. Thanks, Jimmy. Alright, so we're up to $66.60. So not too bad. Let's see what else is in the streets today. Now, obviously in this demo, you just get the opportunity to buy and sell some goods. While we really wanted to give you that taste of the trading part of the game, obviously you're not really doing the full set of missions or starting to follow your paths down these gang paths or necessarily the upgrades, but it does give you a taste for kind of the buying and selling and what the core part of the game is about. Oh, bosses don't think I'm ready yet. Mustn't have enough notoriety for Tyler there. Might just see who else turns up. Okay, so we got Caesar back here and Leo. Let's see what Caesar's got. You've been hanging here for ages. Didn't know we had an appointment. We don't, but we got a bunch of stuff. Okay, we've got 3 things we can actually buy here. So we've got a Snobberton handbag, the infamous large ready to fry. So cassettes, very old school. Okay, so this one's in pretty poor condition. What do we got here? Okay, so some of these more sophisticated goods, because Jimmy's pretty low on the notoriety scale, he doesn't have quite as good an idea of this one, so he can only estimate the condition of this item, and also the estimated price range can be a lot larger. They've got $66, so we should be able to buy both the handbag and the cassette, so we might have a go at bartering this. Wonder if I can get it real cheap. Okay, $26.35, that's alright. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, this one's not such a big deal. Pretty close, pretty close. Oh, I'm down the wrong way, I think. Let's try a bit more. 35. So you can see here with Caesar, he's a bit of an all-rounder, so let's go see what Tyler wouldn't trade with us. But Leo, what's Leo got? Oh, artsy shit for you. So, okay, so he's got a bag of weed and he's also got the infamously large. So one of the things that's interesting in the game is we actually have it set up in such a way that no 2 goods are really the same. So even though there's a pool of goods you can find within the hood, you really do get a true set of randomness in how it works. So we bought that one previously for $6.35. Perhaps we can get this one cheaper. So we did $6.40. Now, if we have a look at our inventory now, you can see we've got our 3 different items. So in the inventory here, you get this nice little pop-up that says what you bought it for and what the condition of the item is. And so you can kind of see which ones are which in that inventory space. So because we're full up now, we do want to go to back and clean these up and then see if we can hock them. So let's see what we can do with each of these. Now, of course, the cleaning process is pretty easy here in the demo, so we will just clean each of these up. Now, of course, the more you have to clean up and the more heat you have to get rid of, the longer it takes you to do that. And so it takes us a bit of time. So now you can see we've removed all the heat from these goods, which is unfortunate. And if we actually look at our heat here, our heat is still 0. Now, of course, if you can't clean all the heat off it, when you sell it, you'll retain some of that heat. And as we continue to get more heat going up on Jimmy, then we can have the cops come around and out. Alright, let's see if we can find some different people to trade with. Okay, so we've got Brandon. We've also got Lloyd here. So we can see Lloyd is from the Bloods, dressed in his Bloods get up. So let's see if he'll be interested in any of this stuff. So if we look at Lloyd, he's pretty good across the board here. So we bought it for $6.80. Not sure we're going to be able to get much of a profit, but we'll try. Okay, not too bad. Now we'll just hock this off as well. So we'll be rid of those. Now, Snobberton handbag. Let's see if we can make a good price on this. Ooh. So he could take it for as low as 15. So some goods in the game, you don't always make a profit if you're not careful. So you got to think about who you're selling it to. But we know 26.35 is about as low as we want to go. So maybe we start up at 30. 7. And I made $3 on that one, which wasn't that good. Alright, see you, Lloyd. Okay, we got 72.65. So one of the interesting things about how fence works is, depending on the time of day and the time in the week, depends on who you actually get to see. So not everyone who is available in the bar is in the bar every day, and same at the basketball court. It's not everyone's available all the time. It depends on the time of day and you know, what sort of character they are as to when they turn up. So it is worth turning up at different times of the week and holding on to items for different periods to make sure that you can get the best sale. And I will show you how you can do that, or we intend to make sure you can do that in the full game. So if you go down into the basement here, you see we've got these, well, piles of junk, and you can clear them for progressively more amounts of money. And up on the phone stand, you will be able to buy some things down here to store items so that Jimmy doesn't have to carry them around on himself all the time. So yeah, being able to utilize your basement not just to clean up goods but to store goods is an important part of ensuring you make the most profit possible off each good. But anyway, in the meantime, we might just go down and see who's available down the other end of the street. See if we haven't got somebody who's got some things to offer. There's someone there. Okay, here we go. We got Patrick. Alright. Okay, so he reckons he's got some things for us to look at. Okay, so the Crow PM25, we're not high enough in the notoriety, but there's another Snobberton handbag here. Alright, so we reckon 12 to 35. Okay, so this one's rated as mediocre, so maybe we can get this for quite a bit less. You'll see too that if you're a long way off, you actually have a lot of patience lost. Maybe what I'll do is we'll try and buy something here off Leo, and I'll show you what happens when you are unsuccessful with okay, so you'll notice that when sometimes you lose too much patience, you'll end up in a position where you've got to use the buy now value, so you pay the most that it costs for each item. So you've got to be careful you don't run them out of patience. Alright, so let's clean up this other Snobberton handbag, and maybe we should take a bit of a rest. Before we go and sell this next item. Jimmy's up and at 'em. So let's see what we've got next. Okay, maybe there's someone down at the basketball court. We've only got the Snobberton handbag in our inventory, so we can see who else is down here. Leo, are you anywhere else? don't seem so good. Alright, Leo, what have you got? Okay, a few different things. So we've got another Sawney walk to, but we've got the gnarly Davidson leather jacket. Let's see how much this is. Oh, this is a bit more pricey, but if we've got $46.30, but if we can get it for a smallish amount, we could do quite well. Alright, Leo doesn't know his the value. Let's see if we can. Yeah, that's pretty good. 23.9% of the recommended retail price. If we have a look at the Fencepedia, we notice we've got a bit of heat now starting to build. I'm just going to clean up this Harley Davidson jacket. Okay, so we can't clean anymore, obviously, off the Snubberton handbag. But we can clean up this Harley Davidson jacket. Alright. Now let's see who's down at the see who's down at Shifty's. Of course, Brandon's here. Maybe we'll play some darts for a while and see if anyone else turns up. Okay, let's see who showed up. Oh, Patrick. Patrick? No. Eddie. Eddie. Hey Jimmy, you know I ain't supposed to be in here. I've always had trouble reading figures. I'm looking for a gift, but I don't have a lot of cash. So Eddie is our corruptible cop. So let's have a look, see if he'll be interested in the gnarly Davidson. Now we bought it for $33.54, so we should be in pretty good here. Still turn quite a profit. Maybe not so much. Okay, so we weren't successful, unfortunately, so we've kind of lost that. So we're not going to sell it for the 30. Maybe we can sell in the handbag. Okay, we bought it for $26.35. Oh, I'm not winning here with Eddie, you cheap ass. Okay, I only made $1. It's pretty bad. Alright, $1.04 profit. Let's try with Brandon here. Shout me a beer. Okay. Let's see what he'll take for the Harley Davidson. Okay, $7. Better than nothing. Alright, so we're up to $81 now, not too bad. Not too bad. So one of the other things we do have is some global effects that happen over time during the game. So this newspaper vending machine here Jimmy can use in the main game to see what those things are, but of course we've disabled that with the demo because you're only playing for a couple of days. Sleep. Or is there somebody about? Okay, here we go. Leo, of course, he doesn't go anywhere else. And Caesar, who doesn't want to trade with us. You got nothing I think you can handle. Okay. What about Leo? Leo's got a great spread. Let's have a look here. Okay. Ban rays has to be sunglasses. Or the Statue of Liberty lighter. I can't resist the tackiness of the Statue of Liberty lighter. It's just fantastic. Okay, $6 to $14 for this bad boy. So this is a piece of art, 1992 is its year. So let's try and... 835, not bad. What about the ban rays? Ooh, these are a bit more expensive. Okay. Oh, Leo, you're the best, giving it to me cheap. Let's see what Patrick's got for us. Must be my lucky day. Knuckle dusters. Okay, we've obviously got enough notoriety now to get at least some basic weapons to trade. What do we think? 12 to 14.40. Okay, so we know this price pretty well. Be much more. Maybe 13. Alright, we got some knuckle dusters. I think our inventory is full. So if we have a look here at Defensipedia, what you can see now is we've actually got quite a bit of heat, and our police rating's gone up to 1. So as we have So as you can see here, since we're holding a few items now and we haven't cleaned them up, our heat's gone up to 14 and our police rating's up to 1. So we'll have to see. We'll have to probably go back and clean some stuff because we don't want to get that police rating too high. Otherwise we'll start seeing a lot of beat cops running around and they'll start searching us and things like that. So I'll go back and clean up some things and then see if we can't get some sleep before we try and sell these things off. Alright, the crummy Statue of Liberty lighter we'll clean up. As well as the ban rays. Take a fair bit more cleaning up, a lot hotter. And then the knuckle dusters, which are pretty cheap, but they actually have a lot of heat on them. So might go have a bit of rest. So you'll see our notoriety's up to 2 now. So we're getting to the point where we've got quite a bit of notoriety. So having a bit more notoriety does a few different things. Number one, it makes Jimmy a better judge of quality and price that you might be able to get or sell goods for. It also unlocks missions and mission paths. Alright, let's see if we can make one last sale. All right, let's perhaps go and make one last sale before we do a bit of a session with a couple of other members of the team. Alright, let's see if Brandon will buy these knuckle dusters. Okay, he's going to pay well more for these, so that's quite good. Okay, maybe he's not going to pay that much more. Alright, still okay, still okay. Let's see. Let's see about this one. I think Brandon's just a bit of a cheapskate. Made a bucket off the glasses. Alright, so that looks like a good place to stop. Thanks for watching me play a little bit of the game and show you at least some of the parts of the demo. Obviously there's lots more features in the main game, but now we'll move across to a little bit of playing and a bit of behind the scenes work with some of the other developers. So thanks for watching. Hi, this is Anthony and I'm with Darren, and welcome to our NextFest demo. So today we're going to do a bit of a playthrough, have a talk to Darren, who's our lead environmental artist, a little bit about some of the work he did, maybe even do a little bit of a look behind the scenes as to some of the things he's done. But hopefully you'll get a feel for the game and what it's about, and learn something interesting. So hi, Darren.
Hello, how's it going?
Good, good. So just if you could give us a little bit about yourself in terms of what you've been working on in the game and how long you've been working on the game, and
Yeah,
some things about what you've been doing.
absolutely. So yeah, as you said, I'm sort of the main sort of environment artist for the project. I've been working on a lot of the scene, the streetscape and stuff like that. And so I guess it's been, I came on pretty early on the piece, and so like a lot of my sort of early parts of the game was setting up, I guess, the pipeline of how the environment sort of stuff would work and how getting it into the engine and all that sort of stuff, and like lots of like less sort of fun, or I guess it's fun, but like less glamorous sort of stuff, like setting up which like files like types we would use, like what format the textures would be in, setting up things like shaders, naming conventions, all that sort of stuff was sort of what I was doing as well. And so a lot of what like you see in like the streetscape and the props and stuff, that was I had a big sort of hand in that, and sort of determining like the art sort of direction of that sort of stuff as well, which is kind of cool. And yeah, it's been a really interesting project to work on and see it grow over the time.
Yeah, great. All right, well, let's get into it, Darren. You start playing the game and we'll have a chat as you go through.
No worries. Which one should I do? Should I just do a standard game? Yeah?
Yeah, just jump into standard.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we start off here. If you start playing away, Darren. So we start off here with Jimmy and Jimmy in Mum's house. So we're also doing a bit of testing as Darren's playing here, because he's we've just gone across to a slightly different control system. So
very
a lot of this is your artwork, Darren. And it's try not to knock it over.
Yeah. No, this was a lot of fun setting up this whole structure. I really like the almost like dollhouse like look of the whole thing, like having the cutaway and seeing all the different floors in one go. It was an interesting sort of way to set it out and get it to all work with the different layering. So like when you actually go to different parts of the house, it works so that you can only see like the cutaways and stuff. And yeah, and I guess the most recent sort of thing is like lighting. This sort of stuff is cool as well. And yeah, and like but just getting all the little details in was fun too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll head down to the basketball court. So at the start of the game, Jimmy's just been kicked out of school, and he's looking for, I guess, a new life or a new way to make some money. So you start the game by heading off to see if you can pick up some stolen goods down the block. And of course, there's a range of people that you can talk to, but
I'm gonna talk to old mate.
But Leo is our first person to hustle.
I love Leo. Leo's great.
Yeah, Leo's such an absolute dreg. It's you'd hope that he could sell you some dodgy stuff for his next hit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what's Leo packing today? So in this first little mission, you're kind of directed to the Sawney Walk dude, which we'll try and buy here. Let's see how good Darren is with his bidding skills to get it cheap off of Leo. So yeah, stitch him up. Like he's a druggo, right? Like he's going to take hopefully a small price.
Hey.
There you go, $9.75.
Actually, creating these like icons and stuff, all the like products and stuff, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's heaps of different products you can have, and they actually fit into different categories. So you can see here that somehow Leo's got his hands on a carton of illegal cigarettes, or carton of cigarettes, and he's obviously managed to steal someone's nice gold watch. So yeah, later on, as you once you finish the tutorial, you obviously need to try and trade for these goods, and some of them are quite expensive, so you might not have the money for it, and other things are a bit too hot for you until you get better reputation. But it allows you to obviously work your way up through those different goods to see how much money you can make.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
all right, let's hit.
What were you going to say about
the
one of my favorite parts that I sort of worked on and got quite happy with how it turned out was the sidewalk here. It's a small detail, but like the way it's sort of set out is like it's in chunks, but they've got like an even sort of spread of vertices, so it's actually vertex painted, so like to get that variation, so you can see like there's like cracks and stuff and more dirt in some areas and bits of gum stuck onto the floor and stuff. So yeah, I was really kind of happy with how that came to be and how it looks. And then
yeah, I mean we didn't try and go crazy in terms of I mean you're obviously a fair way away from Jimmy in the street, so we didn't want to go too crazy in terms of this wasn't about making beautifully realistic textures. Sort of AAA level, but it was about being authentic, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and making sure like the city did feel lived in, and that's definitely something. As we keep going, I want to try and get as much more of that as I can. But yeah, anyway, we're heading down to Shifties.
Yeah, actually, you better go and clean the goods first.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think if you click on that little post-it in the bottom right-hand corner, it should give you the mission. So baby steps is what we're doing at the moment. So you've gone and checked out the basketball court, and now we need to clean up the junk Leo sold you. So
of course.
We'll head back to Mum's.
I'd be a terrible fence.
Oh no, that's all right. That's, some of us are just not made for crime.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of while you're cleaning that up there, we when we were doing the design for this, we talked a lot about mood setting, and definitely one of the mood setting elements is both lighting and also music. So here in Mum's house, which is a bit of a sad place, You know, she's obviously an alcoholic, and you know, Jimmy's trying to do the best by her, but you know, it's obviously a bit of a sad place for everyone to be, and so the mood is supposed to reflect that. She's sort of sitting there, and you know, Jimmy comes back here just really to sleep, and
She's completely out of it. She has no idea that I've been
totally out of it.
No idea that I've been expelled.
No, that's right. That's right. How was school, son? Yeah. So, yeah, tries to reflect that, and then if we go out to the streets, because we're going to go sell this this walk dude now. You know, the streets really need that streets feel. So, you know, we were talking about the dirtiness and the griminess, even down to the cars not being parked straight. You know, tells you what sort of hood it is,
and being covered with graffiti.
Yeah, yeah. The place is a bit run down, to say the least.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you know, the theme music that was made by Zach, you know, really suits the street here and suits it there. So as we go into Shifties, you'll see it changes again.
Let's go. Let's just chat to Shifty.
And Shifties here at the bar.
Actually, there's lighting for this was a lot of fun. Sort of getting that sort of dingy sort of
bar
mood,
look,
and like adding sort of glows for the
I love
fake
the Crudweiser.
fake beer sign over here, and yeah, and even this corner over here with like all the posters and stuff was fun to do.
Yeah.
And
I think, even the booths, like the booths look, you know, appropriately messy and poorly. So, so for this mission here, I think what's in the mission test? I think we're selling it to seek someone out at Shifty. So I think that the person we're trying to talk to is Brandon.
Yeah,
we've got one of the other hoods over there.
I'll go to Brandon.
If it ain't, hey Brandon, interested in buying something?
He loves his beer.
Let's see. Oh, so sophisticated.
It's so good. Okay, let's see how we go.
All right, so what did we buy it for? We bought it for $9.75.
Yeah.
So you can see we bought it for $9.75. We estimate we should be able to get 15 to 21 for it. So we should be able to turn
make a pretty good profit.
Let's see if you can.
Let's push him to his limit.
Okay.
Nah, didn't like that.
You might have to go pretty cheap, otherwise you're gonna end up selling it for 15.
No.
No, you're gonna have to sell now. So when you keep playing along, Darren, but when you barter, if you push your luck too much, and depending on how far away you are, you actually end up losing and running out of patience there. And so what ultimately happens is you end up having to sell it for the worst price possible. And the same works on the other end of the scale, which is where when you're buying it, if you sort of push your luck too hard, then you will end up having to buy it for the maximum price. So you've run into Lloyd.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go give Mum her money. I think it's.
Well, I was going to say you've got a few days, I think, to do it. So why don't we
see who else?
Why don't we see if there's some more down at the court? I mean, what time of night have we got?
Well, it's getting pretty late.
1:20. So as we get a bit further along, we'll eventually get tired and need to sleep.
Well, there we go.
There you go.
Right on cue.
Maybe, yeah. Well, maybe we should head back.
Yeah.
Head back and give him some snooze time. See who turns up in the morning at the court.
All this crime is tiring work.
That's right. So Darren, whilst we're going up to snooze, tell us a little bit about, I guess, as you were making, the latest bit of work on the lighting. Give him the full 8.
Yeah.
We'll get him through.
It is done.
So, what's the what are you trying to do with the lighting at the moment? You've obviously talked a little bit about how Mum's house has come together, but on the street, I noticed you put the light on the front of Mum's house. So what have you been trying to achieve out there on the street?
So yeah, the street stuff. It was interesting. Like a different sort of lighting the interiors was a different challenge to lighting the street, as because we've got like the dynamic lights, but things like drawing attention to areas that are important, like singling out Mum's house here with this light here, so you know that this is where you come back to, and like getting the street lights to react to the day-night cycle, and drawing attention to sort of like just key areas around the street. For example, like Shifty's being lit up by its sign and things like that. So it's sort of like getting that mood, but balancing it with the day-night cycle was sort of like the big sort of challenge. And yeah, there's still a few more tweaks and stuff to do to get this going. But yeah, no, it's coming along well.
And I notice as you're going along there, there's quite some reflections and pieces on the on the streetcars and on the different bits and pieces as they go. I mean, how important is things like reflections and those sorts of things to get set up well?
Yeah, absolutely. So like setting up proper reflection captures and making sure that any surface that would be reflecting light is doing it properly is key to keeping it sort of the whole environment grounded. Because like I said, we're not going for like an ultra realistic sort of style here, but like if there's still things off though, like that wouldn't happen in the real world, it can detract from it. But yeah, so setting up reflection captures and stuff like that was very important. Anyway, back to Leo then. Leo will do it anyway.
Leo, see what. Steal from me, I'll steal from him. Yeah, I think Leo might.
What's he got now?
You probably haven't seen all the text yet, have you?
No, that's one of the good things about playing through it, is just seeing all like the fun little flavor text that you guys have been working on, and just it genuinely makes me chuckle.
That's good. Yeah, I mean the game is supposed to be have a fair bit of darkish kind humour, but also some overt humour.
Let's see. Hey,
that's pretty good.
Not too bad.
You can't get the Tomega Fastmaster. All right.
I love it.
So, you know what we need to do now?
Yes. We need to get rid of some of that heat.
Clean it up. Go clean that up.
But yeah, even like seeing like the extra characters wandering in the streets and stuff has just built up the life of the street a bit more too, which is cool.
Yeah. Well, that's Brandon on his way to the bar for his 12 o'clock drink. Followed by his 1 o'clock drink and his 2 o'clock drink.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you've got the handbag to clean up. Now we've got it set here so you can clean it all the way up in the demo. But of course, in the real game, you actually have to upgrade your workbench and your skills to get better cleaning on these things. And as you clean them up, you should get a better price and you should get a better condition. Do you want to go back to the workbench and see if we can clean up the Walkman that you got as a reward for the first mission? Oh, well, it's sitting there on 0, so it won't take any time. So you can see if you can go flog that as well.
Ah, wicked. I should get Mum's whiskey in no time.
Yeah, well, that's right. Mum ain't gonna be able to go dry.
But yeah, it's the details, like adding the details of these posters was a lot of fun too. Even though you can't really see them too much, but they'll pop up in the background and stuff if you talk to customers or potential customers and things like that. But yeah, lots of fun.
Yes, it's very interesting when we were doing the research for the bodega, just to see what
Okay, what do we sell him?
you can sell Mum's Sawney Walk, dude.
Yeah.
See if you can flog that for a bit more. See if you can sell it to him without having to sell now for $9.
Yeah.
See if you can get a good price for it.
Oh. That's maybe a little bit more. Nah. Okay, wow, man, a little bit of profit. A little bit of a profit, but I tell you, I'm not cut out for this.
Brandon's a hard bargainer.
Yeah.
Sell your Snobberton. Oh, you could hang on to the Snobberton and go back down to the court. How much money you got? $51.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe troll back down to the court, see if somebody else has turned up. Maybe there's
Maybe a little profit.
yeah, that's right. See if there's any. Daytime, the street looks very different, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's
It really brings out sort of the graffiti aspect to it.
and just the trash and the rundownness.
Yeah. See what Leo's got. See if Leo's.
I managed to steal anything. Steal anything else? Oh, well, we'll go the jeans, I think.
Yeah, see if you can pick those up. What are they? $20. Condition mediocre. So yeah, the other thing to notice here is not everything's the same condition. So some things are in good condition, and some things not so much. And your estimated price is based on how good Jimmy is at as he gets more experienced. He obviously gets better at estimating the price. But you obviously don't want to be buying something that's really crummy condition for a lot of money. Let's see.
We'll give it a go.
Hanover bleach CD. So what's this one? 8? So you've got a pretty...
And I don't have enough space for it though. So I gotta start flogging some stuff before I...
Okay.
Anyway, let's go back and... play.
Right. So
let's just head to the...
Let's go and
clean up some
stuff.
It's also like keeping track of the time is like it's tricky too.
Yes.
Okay.
See what's going on. Now I'm impressed that you can clean up a super guy magazine, but obviously that's possible. And then the Mevo jeans. Just get rid of those pesky labels. It'll be on it.
And eventually you'll be able to like improve the condition of items, right?
Yeah, so as you upgrade the workbench over time, you are able to improve or clean up, I guess, the items to a better state and obviously create value. So the idea is that, Jimmy's trying to make money to, I guess, get out of perhaps living in such a dodgy place and the problems his mum's got. And so, yeah, that's what he's trying to achieve. And so, yes, the more money you make, it gives you access to being able to buy those more expensive goods and being able to clear out, clean up his house and clear out the junk in his basement and expand, I guess, his operation, and hopefully eventually, be able to make a living and perhaps help his mum out. All right, so we're coming on dusk again.
Mm-hmm.
Time to hit the bar.
Time flies, eh?
Time flies. Time really does fly. And time is important in this game because depending on the time... Oh, okay, we've got Lloyd down here. Let's see if Lloyd's going to buy any of this stuff. I'm not sure he'd like a handbag.
We'll try the jeans.
We'll try the jeans. He's a gang member,
Yeah.
Alright, so... You should be able to make a tidy profit on these.
Hopefully. Oh, let's not push it though. Whoa.
Very close.
Oh.
I reckon you got one more shot.
Hey. Whew. Oh, made a little bit of a profit there.
Yeah. Brandon's always good.
It's gonna blow my spot.
Yeah, he's So you're a nice guy. You don't use the swearing options. That's good.
Let's see if
There's
I
not
can.
much profit to be made in a dodgy comic, is there?
No.
You might make a couple of bucks.
Hey, we made a little bit. Still gotta
There
find
you go.
something for this handbag.
Yeah, so let's see. I think there's some other characters that come later in the week. So yeah, before. It's Leo just
Leo.
wandering.
Run away.
Like,
He might steal back his goods.
Leo's a reasonably sketchy guy. Time for some rest, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this game, time of the week, day of the week, and the who you meet on the streets is actually quite important.
In the full 8 hours. Yeah. And it all changes, doesn't it?
It does. Depends what time of week as to who you get in different places. So yeah, quite a bit of flavour is added by the time of week and time of day. So and people's schedules kind of match who they are. So for example, Leo being obviously unemployed is pretty much around all the time, and so is Brandon. But perhaps some of the other people, it makes a difference as to what the time of day is. So for example, Sarah, the schoolgirl, she's only around obviously when school's not in. I don't even know if Shifties is open. Maybe Shifties is a 24-hour bar.
Yeah. I'm an early riser, so I'll kill some time.
Yeah, well, that's
I'll
right.
Wait
Don't want to sleep in. The intention is for you to be able to kill time by shooting hoop or sleeping. So you can do that. But let's see if somebody turns up. Cool. Now, actually, this is probably a good point where we could just advance time, right? So, you do have the ability to increase the speed of the game.
Actually, while we're here, I'll talk about this particle effect of litter just blowing down the street was another thing that I was sort of happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, so let's talk about the how do you get these sorts of interesting effects. I mean, you've got this litter blowing down the street. How do you do that? I mean, we built the game in Unreal,
hmm
but what system does this use?
So this uses their effects system, their like Niagara system, and essentially, what I was able to do was set up one that uses 3D particles. So and then made the actual litter into like I just made them as like really simple 3D models. Oh, here goes Brandon. And yeah, and so then using that system, I could generate like a physics-based effect on them that give them the look that they're being blown down the street. So there's like bits of paper, bits of newspaper, and all sorts of stuff like that. And because it's using 3D particles, like any other litter we've got could also be used. So you could have like, we'll just advance time a little bit so we can get the shadows. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of junk down here, like pizza boxes and bottles and stuff. That stuff can be used too.
Yeah.
I guess the trick is to keep things simple, so that like it's not too taxing on the engine. But yeah, no, it was quite easy to set up and get a good effect.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see who's down at the basketball court. Maybe
got some-
Tyler's going to head down there and have some things to hook.
Leo's there. Leo's always there.
Of course, Leo's there. There's Sophia. She's going.
Ah, wonder where she's off to.
Good is a relative term, Leo. Good stuff. He's got the good stuff. Of course, he's got the good stuff. All right, bag of weed, but you haven't got the notoriety for that yet.
Let's go the jacket. Whoa. Whoa. I don't know. I might not have enough for this
Pretty
one.
expensive.
Yeah, maybe I'll sit on that. I guess it can't hurt to have a go.
All right, you can try. You can try. Okay, so you're locked out from the biggest value.
He's not going to take this. No way.
Your game.
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe 40.
Oh. No,
No, you're done. All right, cannot barter.
that's all right.
All right, I guess you're gonna go this Sol de la, the 3 feet down necklace. For those of you with any knowledge of the 90s, you'll know what that refers to. Okay, you got that. All right, let's see. Let's go see if Tyler or Caesar or someone's got something for us.
Anyway, let's go see if Sophia made her way down to the... Actually, we'll clean some stuff first.
Yeah, we need to clean.
I'll clean that necklace and then I'll head down.
All right. Well, once we've once you've cleaned this and headed down, maybe we'll have a little bit of a cut or a little bit of a break to then do a look at maybe some of the behind the scenes of how you did some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's head down. Okay, let's see. Who's there on a Wednesday?
See, he's in the bar.
On a
He's
Wednesday.
here Wednesday. No, we just got Brandon at the
It's
moment.
Brandon. Okay, let's see.
Brandon's kind of your dumping ground.
Yeah.
Really?
He'll buy
He
it.
doesn't give you the best price, but he'll buy anything. Did you see his comment on the side there when you tried to sell him this?
No, I wasn't. I was.
So, because it's a bit of paraphernalia from a famous rapper. He says, "Did you know I was a famous musician back in the day?" See if you can sell the snobbit in the handbag.
Yeah.
Let's see if he'll take that. Oh, don't give.
Oh, wrong button. Ah. Let's try.
Let's try again.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Let's try the snobbin. Bought for $20.60, right? So you got to get more than $20.60.
Oh, I don't think he's going to go for this, but let's try. Oh, he did.
Oh,
Wait,
yes, there we go.
Could have squeezed some more out of him, I reckon.
You could have. You could have.
Oh well. Excellent.
$2.
It's coming along well. Cool.
Awesome. All right, we'll take a short break and be back, and we'll have a little look behind the scenes.
Welcome back. Darren's just going to show us something that he's worked on recently. So one of the things we want to add into the game, or have in the game, the main game, is modifiers. So different events that happen over our time in the city modify the price of goods and the availability of certain goods, and just create some natural variation for the player and the opportunity to make extra by being a bit clever about what they buy and sell at certain times. And the way we thought we'd make this a reality was to have Jimmy be able to buy the newspaper. And back in the 90s, you bought them from these really clanky, awful-looking New York street newspaper vending machines, which you put in a quarter and or whatever the price was for the newspaper, and you could pull it down and grab one out. So Darren, we did some research, and Darren built one that Jimmy would be able to use and for us to animate. And so yeah, as a bit of a behind the scenes, Darren can talk about how you make something like this.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I guess one of the key sort of ways we sort of I personally have been using to work on assets like this is to it's uses a high to low bake. So this model here is fairly low poly. It's purposely kept low, so it's like it's not too taxing. But then like another pass is made with higher details, and so you get sort of things like all these sort of little rivets and all like the springs and stuff and the face plates and all sorts of stuff, and like even some sort of like light warping in the metal and dents and dings and scratches and stuff like that. All that sort of stuff goes through in the high, and then using external software you can bake that down, so you capture all those details. And I guess one of the important things is like with details like this, because like they're not physically in the actual model, you have to capture an ID mask, so it adds a color ID to each of these sort of bits, so that when you do take it to the texturing software, you can easily mask them out and add different colors to them and stuff. But yeah, and so this was sculpted detail and then baked down to get the models, and it was purposely made in separate parts so that the door is when we've got it in the engine, we can animate that properly in engine. And yeah, it's just an easier way to do that rather than making a specific animation for it. That can all be handled in the engine. Yeah.
And Darren, there's obviously it almost looks like you've engineered this, but obviously you've built this from a bunch of reference material and then scaled it using our friend over there.
Yes, yeah. Keeping real world scale is important, so it doesn't look out of place. And then yeah, and gathering lots of different reference from the time period is was key.
And then talk to us about the paint up. So show us the final paint that you achieved.
Yeah. So
texture.
So doing a lot of research, sort of getting I get a feel for like what the actual thing is. A lot of them were brightly coloured. Yellow was a pretty popular colour for them at the time. And yeah, so like just gathering all the details, like your coin return, your all the details on how like it actually works, like your coin slots and stuff, and then like, and also adding sort of flavor. So like I actually managed to grab a copy of a paper from that sort of time period and sort of adjust it so it's like obviously not very, so you can't really read all the details, but it just sort of gives it that sort of flavor so that you it keeps it real well and it's grounded. And then like adding like stickers. Some of these are even like this is one of the items in the game that I made sort of like the art for, and I um, grabbed just the sticker for that, or turn that into a sticker, which is kind of cool. And then like adding graffiti and dirt and grunge and stuff. Yeah, and so I guess I could I'll show you some of those. So you can
Yeah,
kind
look,
of
I do love the use of some of the in-game items to make the sticker. It's very cool, and the level of effort and time to make it authentic is just fantastic. And the reality is, most of the time you see this from quite a ways away, but as you saw from the gameplay part of the stream, there's actually a lot of times when you're zooming in or zooming up to talk to people, and
hmm
it's there that you get that real feel for the detail of the world and how it looks. And I guess with modern graphics and engines, and because we haven't kind of overcooked the game in a lot of other ways, we're not playing a massive open world environment. We don't have to be too worried about how detailed we're getting on some of these items, and so we can provide that real authenticity.
hmm yeah. And I'll just quickly show up. This is that ID map that I was sort of talking about. So like all these details can be like then masked out in the layer stack here, and sort of just makes texturing a bit easier. So you can just sort of pick them using an eyedropper. It just makes it a lot easier. And yeah, and then like you've got your details like your AO and curvature and stuff, and that's so much easier to get that sort of the stuff, and then like you can procedurally generate a lot of this sort of damage and stuff um, using that, and it definitely saves a lot more time in the end and gets it to look a lot more realistic.
Yes, genuinely random.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you, Darren. It's been wonderful having you on the stream and playing the game a little with you, and having a look at some of the work you do. Really looking forward to the game coming out in full later this year, and
Yeah. Absolutely.
seeing a bit more of your handiwork.
hmm
So what are you looking forward to doing the most in the last part of the game?
Just yeah, getting more of that detail in, and like and working on a few more assets, and like getting that lighting sorted and stuff. But yeah, just getting it finished and polished so it's the best it can be, and when it comes out, and yeah, really looking forward to it. This has been a really good project to sort of have, because like I started um like when it was first coming along, and then like in the interim, like I managed to actually get a job working on at another game studio. But like so like the coming back to this and like working on it and using like the skills and knowledge and stuff, it's been yeah, a good experience.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, thanks again, Darren, and hopefully we'll hear from you a bit more as we get closer to the release.
hmm Looking forward to it.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hi again, and we're back, and we're just going to do a bit of play with our lead character artist, which is Eleanor. Hi, Eleanor.
I am the character artist and also UI and you know also UI and promo art artists. So if you saw us at PAX, I was responsible for that billboard, and my art will also be all the Steam capsules and such.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eleanor,
Bells and whistles.
yeah, that's right, bells and whistles. And you've been doing character art for quite a while, haven't you, Eleanor? And I mean, if you look on your art station, you actually do a lot of other different character art. What's sort of your favorite character art to do?
So I actually come more in a background of like fantasy and anime characters. I love drawing monsters and creatures. And then, so when I got invited to the project, it's like, hey, we need you to design 13 normal ass humans and make them all look interesting and unique. So that's been an interesting challenge for me personally.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the first ones you did, I think, was Jimmy himself, which you can see sitting
Yeah,
there
because
smacking
that's Jimmy was the design we already had an idea for. The other artists had all took a crack at drawing him, and yeah, when I was invited, I was like, yeah, I can understand why you need me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eleanor, like Jimmy's a pretty
you know, he's this real 90s street kid. Can you tell us a bit about sort of the reference material and what you got out of that?
So I think the biggest source of reference for Jimmy and all of the game is 90s movies. Especially since we're not American ourselves, we pull a lot of our inspiration from American movies. I show you my reference page. You can see Jimmy is taken straight from Terminator 2.
Yeah, he's got this sort of nice mix from all these 90s movies, and yeah, the styling. I remember when we went through and did the reference work. There were some real pieces that stuck out that looked really good. But yeah, the Terminator 2 movie just sort of had some really good clothing references and just different sort of hairstyles that were around for that sort of time.
And you could imagine that kids of the 90s were watching these movies and be like, yeah, that's cool. I want to emulate the characters in the movies. So they cut their hair the same way. So it all kind of rolls back into itself of how do you tell something about the character by how they dress.
Yeah, yeah,
So what would be realistic for them to do to themselves?
that's right. And Eleanor, what about the clothing? I mean, you know, I think when we sort of talked about Jimmy, it was pretty clear he was going to be in jeans. But then, you know, we were sort of thinking about what do we put on top, and we ended up going with the bomber jacket, which was kind of
Yeah, because
really
you
cool.
provided this image to me, and it just seemed like you really wanted this.
Yeah,
It is very 90s.
very iconic sort of 90s stuff. Yeah.
But there's a frightening amount of characters in this game that wear jeans. Denim was was denim on denim in the 90s.
Yeah, the only thing I don't think we've got is a denim cap. So, but we've pretty much got every other bit covered with something denim. Yeah. All right, let's kick in and play a bit of the game and see how you go. See if you can hustle a little better than Gunny did. See if you can and
Oh, I'm
stitch
terrible
up a
at this
few more
game.
bucks.
I'm the sort of person who gets distracted by all the environment. I'm like,
Oh,
ooh,
yeah.
cool, modeling. I feel so sorry for these guys. They have the world's worst lounge room.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's all you can afford when mum's an alcoholic. Actually,
It's so sad.
if you click on the post-it note down the bottom right, I think we've got our mission, sort of our first
Yeah.
mission sitting here. So you can see. So we've got to go down to the basketball court and scope that out, and hopefully we'll find Leo there to buy some stuff off. I think too, what's kind of interesting around the art piece, Eleanor, is you know, we've got your characters, but also the environmental art is obviously done by different people. And the question is, you know, how do you kind of get that to fit together well? Because obviously you want to make sure that the scene we're in kind of matches. Yeah, so we're toying with how much of a time sink we make down here, because you do sometimes wait.
I love knockoff names.
Oh yeah, the knockoff names are the best. I mean, you know, whilst often they're used to get away from, you know, different licensing things. But this was hilarious. This item, when I was building the item list, I found this horrific 90s souvenir Statue of Liberty lighter. Like any person in their right mind would surely not have one of those, but yeah, it's just one of those kitschy 90 things from New York that you can get in the game.
People definitely had them.
Yeah, oh yeah, no doubt. So you can now go clean up all three of those things, I reckon. Like, you got a good haul. You got a better haul than Gunny did, that's for sure.
I'm stingy.
Yeah, stingy ass. We were talking with Darren for one of the earlier segments, and he's really worked hard on getting the lighting to really highlight some of the places you work and go. So the bench, for example, is looking pretty good. And just getting the lighting right to make it clear where you can kind of go with Jimmy and what to do with him. All right, I think you're all done. So, Eleanor, actually, while you're here, maybe go in and talk to Mum. Tell us a little bit about Mum. Where'd you sort of get your inspiration for her from?
So Edna was largely inspired by Joyce Byers from Stranger Things.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
just love
classic.
Joyce so much. She's such a good character, and yeah, it's that same kind of like she's tired and has issues, but she still cares about her kids.
Yeah, no, she was a good fit. She's a real good fit.
Yeah, I think she's what immediately came to mind when I was asked to design like a mum, 90s mum. And she has her high-waisted jeans mum pants.
Oh yes, yeah. The clothing fits the bill, and that overly intense look is great. Really good.
Yeah, she's a little bit frightening in low light.
Yes,
Don't
she
know why.
is. She looks well washed out. Well washed out.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
look,
think
if
one of the
Jimmy.
fun parts of character design was because usually when you're designing characters for video games, you want them to be like pretty and like everyone's very fabulous looking. But in this kind of setting, everyone no, you have to make a bunch of characters look really shit.
Yeah, that's
So
right. That's right. Like this, like kind of one of the themes for the whole game is that everyone's a little bit of a dropout, if that makes sense. They've all got a problem. They're faulty in some way, shape, or form.
So yeah, it's quite fun to deliberately try and make someone who looks awful.
Yeah. So, even though there's obviously a limited number of items in the game, every item is uniquely created and populated, which is why the bidding's always fresh. So you might have sold something to a certain person at a certain time for one price, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it again. And there's also some global modifiers that we'll mix in. I think when we did the video with Darren, or the playthrough with Darren, had a bit of a talk about the newspaper stand and how we're going to get that in to give Jimmy a bit of information about what's actually happening. All right, so we completed the first mission, and I think we actually get the second mission now, which is Mama needs whiskey. So go and look in there. So we got to give Mum $30 for whiskey, but we won't do that in this playthrough anyway. But yeah, that's kind of the next bit. So yeah. And then over in the corner here, we got Lloyd from the Bloods. So tell us a little bit about the 2D art. So you can see Lloyd's 2D art down there in the corner. I mean, we talked earlier about sort of the style we wanted to give, and in parts of the game there's kind of a couple of different things, but there's obviously the 3D characters, but then back then we didn't have phones or those sorts of things, definitely not phones with cameras. So yeah, trying to make it look scrapbooky was kind of one of the ideas of design, and you've sort of brought that to life. But perhaps tell us about how do you go about making a good 2D impression of a 3D model?
Yeah, so I think our initial idea was very about graffiti art. So we had those stylized portraits initially, and then I came up with the idea of having the UI be workbooks and paper, because I imagined that since Jimmy's dropped out of school, he's just reusing all of his school books to like take notes about his business. So the idea is that all of the character portraits are just doodles that Jimmy himself has done in his book to keep track of all these people that he knows. And that was a bit of a joke that Jimmy has untapped talent as a police sketch artist. That he should be doing this for a job.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever I do these, it's quite difficult to make yourself draw a bit worse than you normally would. So I've had to really push myself to not do really good art.
Yeah, because it's it helps create that real feel of Jimmy.
Yeah, someone who's just, he's found like a pencil in the bottom of his bag and he's just like roughly sketching people.
Yeah. So
yeah, I basically just took a screenshot of the 3D model, the sculpt stage, and sketched over it to make sure it's looks like the character as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then of course it has like extra details that don't come across in the 3D model, like Mum's like really scruffy hair that isn't necessarily there in the 3D, but details.
And Eleanor, when you're doing sort of 2D work like this, what do you find is kind of the hardest thing to do or get correct? Is it hair or eyes, or just getting proportions? What is it that's most challenging when you're trying to pull together these 2D character art
I'd say
pieces?
hair and eyes are actually my favorite bits to do. Say the hardest thing is the shading, because it is like a pencil and I'm trying to do kind of cross-hatching this kind of shade. It's very easy to go overboard or underboard, so kind of getting that balance of like making this style of shading look nice.
Yeah.
And also recognize, because it's like this big in game, making that look good from a distance as well.
Yeah, well, that's kind of one of the interesting parts. If we just go back in and play a bit more, is you have times when you're got to take him back to sleep. You've got times when you've got quite a close 3D model. The majority of the game, or part of the game, is played at least at a distance, and so you're only seeing the model sort of in this isometric mode, I guess.
Yeah, because we were initially unsure of how close the camera would be. Like, do we even need portraits if the camera is going to zoom in on the 3D model? So we were tossing back and forth on that initially, and I think we did decide on those little portraits just to keep track of the conversations.
Yeah, I think the portraits are important because there
We
is
don't have
quite a
voice
bit of
acting.
dialogue. Yeah, got quite a bit of dialogue, and it just helps the player keep track. And I think it's all about adding feel, right? Like at the end of the day, it's making a coherent story, and I think good storytelling isn't just about sort of the dialogue, but it also contains things or messages through how the art looks and what the different pieces are. So yeah.
But I also like the scrapbook UI idea because it's like the focus of the game is more the gameplay and the financial, counting, economic systems. So the scrapbook is a way to tell a story more indirectly, because it's written from Jimmy's POV. We get to see insight into his character by how he writes about other characters and his inner thoughts and things.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you basically, your controlling part of the story is selecting dialogues and choosing what to trade and following the missions, but everything else is really indirect. So how Jimmy feels about other people and what he's actually trying to do is a bit more exploratory, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we don't have like fancy cutscenes telling a story.
No, that's right. So it's the player gets to kind of live that story, and it's not a massive world for Jimmy to move around in, but it's enough that he has the opportunity to interact with different people and tell the story that way. All right, let's go see if we can get one more piece from down at the basketball court before we have a little look at some 3D modeling. That's right. Whereas you look at Leo here, he's a bit more...
Everyone's covered in a thin layer of grime.
Yes. It's a grimy environment with grimy people. Oh, the infamous large ready to fry. I was wondering when we were going to see this exceptional cassette. Now, I'm sure there's some people that are too young to remember what a cassette really is, but yeah, they were...
I mean, I know, but...
You never used one, I assume?
I've never, my older brother did. He would talk about making his mixtapes, but I was a CD child.
Yeah, the infamous mixtape that, if you didn't like it, hopefully you were hoping it was going to get chewed up in the car stereo system.
I know, I consider my car old because it doesn't have a, like, Bluetooth. It only has a CD player. I'm like, I don't have a CD-ROM to burn CDs.
That's ancient. That is ancient. Yeah. And so one thing I was going to ask was when you're doing your art, obviously we've got 3 different artists, or had multiple artists work on this project. How did you go about making consistency? Like, obviously you've got different characters and people you're trying to convey, but obviously the consistency across the art's really important. How do you kind of work together with other artists?
Uh, I mean, consistency between my own models. They did use a base model to make sure they all have the similar human proportions, because that can go wildly wrong when you make them from scratch.
Hmm.
Um,
And do you look
uh,
much at the environment? So obviously Darren's done loads and loads of the environmental work.
I do, yeah. I keep track of what work other people have done and kind of hop in engine occasionally. Like whenever I import a new character to the engine, I do set it up just so I can see what the material is doing and how the lighting's going, because they do need adjustments sometimes. But it's been pretty good so far. I haven't had too many issues.
Yeah.
I will say, like, these 4 characters on the ends have been my favorites. I don't know why. I just really like how they came out. Sophia, especially. I enjoy women. I like designing women because they have more fashion options available to them.
Yeah,
Um,
and I remember when we talked about the different reference material for Sarah and for Sophia. Sophia is the one on the left. She's the sort of thinks she's a high class drunk,
mm,
high class, but she's just really a middle class drunk. And then the preppy Sarah on the end, who's uh, just I guess bored preppy person who nicks stuff
mm.
and sells it to you. Yeah, they're kind of very archetype for the 90s in terms of that look, especially the sort of
So yeah,
disgusting glasses on the head and the leopard print. It's kind of good looking, but also kind of really
yeah. Trying to
kitsch.
deliberately make someone look tacky. It's a
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
challenge.
There's like
Um,
next level
but yeah, the
tacky.
print was big in '90s, and the
Print was
spaghetti
begin notice.
the boob
Yeah,
dresses and the spaghetti tops.
yeah,
I think yeah, this was like my initial idea that I sketched out,
yeah,
and I was like, yeah, it's pretty much unchanged. It works
yeah,
well.
yeah,
I will say that it was a small challenge with Sarah because yeah, she's meant to be this preppy girl, and I was like, I don't actually know what that means because that's part of American culture, so I had to research what preppy meant.
yes, yes. And unbelievably, there were some good sites that explained in far too much detail, not just what preppy was, but actually how to be preppy,
Mm.
which was a bit next level. But yeah, Sarah came out well. And then maybe a bit about the gang members. I mean, we really wanted to make sure that the characters conveyed these guys are part of the Bloods, so they got their very red looking stuff on, so that comes across nice and easily. But maybe a bit of a talk about
Yeah,
building them up.
yeah. Lloyd is like the older member, so he's like a bit more like in uniform, so to speak. You know, he's got his bandana and like a full red outfit. I quite enjoyed like making his face, trying to make him look more, I guess, like grizzled,
Yep.
whereas Tyler is, a young member. He's not even like that bad of a guy. He's just kind of caught up in this situation.
Yeah. You almost
He's
feel like he could be one of Jimmy's friends at school if he wasn't.
yeah, he's like in a similar situation to Jimmy. Like he's lost his parents and things. So you know they could have been buddies.
Yeah.
And yeah, his attire is things that he's grabbed out of the closet that kind of match the gang. The gang. It's like just thrown together because he's still new.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy how his face came out. Yeah, had a lot of different references for skin tone and faces and hairstyles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was like the main Lloyd one.
Yeah. That's like a bit grizzled. Yeah, the outfits are just unbelievable. Like, what is that guy on the right carrying? Is that like a crab? A lobster? Like
I
there
think
was some
chicken.
genuinely weird reference material with the blocks.
Yeah, it's a rooster. I can see
It's
the
a
feet here. And
rooster.
the
Oh, yeah,
tail
right. Sorry,
fin.
it's a rooster. Like I don't know why you need to carry a rooster with your AK-47. I mean, is it more threatening? Who knows? And then of course our barfly Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well washed out. So very, very good. I don't know what it is about people, but they feel quite happy to rip Leo off. You know, Leo looks like he's a grungy.
He's only got
It's got solid thongs, solid his best thongs on for
his best
trading.
flip flops.
Yeah, his best flip flops, so he can shoot some hoop down at the court.
Yellowed toes and
He's such a good washout, and when he's animated, of course, he's even better.
yeah, and he's one of the few characters that has teeth because they're missing some.
Well, look, thanks for sharing your insights on the art and showing us a bit about how it's done. And yeah, look, the characters are a wonderful part of the story, and obviously one of my favourite parts as they've come to life. But yeah, thanks for playing along, Eleanor.